hero. He's a guy who survived what should have been a fatal shooting, but thanks to the great work of our police, our Capitol Police, his life was saved. Also through a lot of prayers and healing prayers from our community and all across this country and probably the world. We have Steve Scalise here to talk to us, to get us inspired, to make sure we take back the House, we keep the presidency, we keep the Senate, and to make sure that everybody out here, these are all, I can see all these familiar faces, great volunteers, great supporters from our region, some candidates hiding around up in the back there, police officer, assembly candidate who's going to win this race too. But I just want to say thank you so much to all of you for all the work you've done, for getting out here. We have less than 2 weeks now, and we're in our final push. We're working really hard. Things are looking really good. The numbers have turned around. Trump's up. I'm up. Steve, it's so great to come here and just to give us that, last bit of boost of energy and some encouragement and some inspiration. So I just want to present to you how our Steve Scalise and how honored I am to have him, and really on behalf of you, to represent our community in this really important district. Thanks so much, Steve Scalise.
How you doing? All right. It's good to be in Binghamton. It's really good to be here with Claudia Tenney. I got to serve with Claudia when she was in Congress, and let me tell you what,
we're going to put her back in there.
She's tough, and we need her back in Congress. Y'all are going to help her get there. And look, I'll see what's at stake in this election. My goodness, there couldn't be a clearer choice between the directions we're about to take. 13 days from now. It's finally almost here. I think everybody's ready for this election.
Yeah.
You're going to have record voting. You're seeing folks show up already. And on election day, it's going to be maybe the highest turnout our country's seen. Because, again, we're about to choose between what really is the choice between freedom and government control.
Yes.
If y'all want to see what socialism looks like, just go to all the places it's been tried, because it's failed every single time. We're not going to let them try that experiment here in the United States of America. We're not going to let it happen. And look, Brindisi, your current congressman, has actually been enabling the socialist left. You look at how he's voted. And I know he came back here, don't worry, he said, don't worry, I'm not interested in impeachment. The only problem is he went up to Washington and voted 3 different times to impeach the president when there wasn't even a crime. He'll tell you, don't worry, we're going to support police, and yet he's voted to defund police. He has agreed with Joe Biden on this, that he would vote to raise your taxes, getting rid of the Trump tax cuts. We're actually bringing jobs back to America. We were rebuilding our middle class in America, our manufacturing base in America. And if Biden and Brindisi were to get their way, all of that goes away, and then they would increase the taxes back to where they were before, where all those companies were leaving, where our middle-class jobs were leaving. Do we want to go back to those days? No! I know y'all aren't going to let us go back to those days. Claudia surely won't, because Claudia was a small business owner herself. She knows what it's like to create jobs. She also knows what it's like to help other people create jobs. When we were starting to do that, we're going to get around the corner on COVID-19. We're about to have 4 different internationally respected drug companies here in America that are in the final stage of FDA approval for a vaccine for COVID-19. And by the way, that's because of President Trump's leadership. It's called Operation Warp Speed. Doesn't get any real attention because they only want to talk about, they surely don't want to talk about anything that's bad for Joe Biden. You get banned from Twitter if you send something out that's bad for Joe Biden. But what they don't talk about are the things that this president's done to protect Americans. The decisions that he's made every step of the way, starting with the decision to ban flights from China. If you remember, Joe Biden was against that decision. That was the first decision. Even Dr. Fauci said that decision saved lives, and Joe Biden wouldn't have done it, which means you would have had tens of thousands, if not more, Americans die. And President Trump's done that every step of the way. And Joe Biden hides out in his basement, shows up, and agrees with Nancy Pelosi. The problem is Nancy Pelosi's been wrong on that too. It was Nancy Pelosi went to Chinatown in San Francisco and said, "Oh, you can come on out to Chinatown." She didn't have a mask on that day. She doesn't have a mask on when she's roaming through her beauty salon, but she tells you can't go to your beauty salon. I haven't spent a lot of time at my beauty salon, I can just tell you. But everybody in America ought to have the right to live their lives, and you can do it safely. The guidelines are out there. for how you can reopen businesses safely, for how you can reopen schools safely. Think about this. In the District of Columbia, there's not been one death under the age of 18 from COVID-19, yet they shut the whole school system down. They're ruining these kids. I mean, these kids are falling behind everybody else who's in classroom learning. This whole idea that you'd have government controlling every aspect of your life, and that's where Joe Biden's been, that's where Brindisi's been. And I wish Brindisi would stand up to Pelosi more. We would have had another round of paycheck protection loans to save more small businesses in America if Brindisi would have just stood up to Pelosi. I don't know why he's so afraid of Nancy Pelosi that he won't fight for local businesses, but I can tell you what, Claudia will fight for local small businesses. She's done it before. She'll do it again. Now, you might think, well, gee whiz, he just goes up there and he votes with all of them because they tell him what to do. And to a degree, that's right, except not everybody on the Democrat side votes alike. In fact, there are some people with President Trump more than Brindisi. The problem is, when I tell you some of the names, it's going to shock you. Who votes with President Trump more than Brindisi? Have you heard of somebody named AOC? Yeah. Crazy. She votes with Trump more than Brindisi. Yeah. Have you heard of Nancy Pelosi? She votes with Trump more than Brindisi. And believe me, they don't vote with Trump a lot. But that's how much he votes against the president's agenda. He votes against President Trump's agenda more than AOC. More than Nancy Pelosi. They voted 3 different times to impeach the president. He doesn't like this president. He doesn't work with this president. Let's have somebody in Washington who will work with the president to get stuff done. That's what Claudia Tenney is going to do. So look, I don't need to tell y'all what's at stake. You know what's at stake in this election. But I will promise you this. Each one of you has a few friends that don't know the differences as clearly. Because if you watch the commercials or if you watch the debate, he's going to say he's for everything good and against everything bad. The problem is when he goes to Washington, he forgets that. Maybe it's Potomac amnesia. I'm not really sure what Brindisi's got. But we can solve it by just sending him back to New York and sending Claudia up there to go fight for the values that y'all actually have and believe in. So, you know what's at stake. Please tell your friends what's at stake as well, who are on the fence, who haven't made up their mind. Tell them how important it is, not just for me and for our team, but for President Trump to have Claudia Tenney up fighting for you again in Washington. Get rid of Brindisi, put in Claudia so that she will fight for the values of New York. So, here, Claudia, you want to take it away?
We're going to have a debate tomorrow. It's going to be on at 8 o'clock, and right after our debate is going to be the presidential debate. But something to understand, and we've been reading all these polls, we're seeing the polls. I know a lot of us are getting a little nervous about what's happening on the presidential side. Every poll in this district, except one that the Democrats put out, shows that Trump is winning by double digits, and I'm also leading.
Yes!
Because a lot of people in Binghamton don't know enough about me, and we're trying to really get to meet all of you. But we want you to understand something. We're leading, but the undecideds are voting for President Trump, and they're not sure who to vote for, whether me or Brindisi. They need to understand what you just said. A guy who is voting more with AOC than President Trump is not if you're voting for President Trump and you end up voting for Brindisi, you just can't do it. I mean, this is the guy that voted to impeach him. He's voting with the far left, and we are in a crisis in this country, and Steve knows it probably better than I do because he sees it. He's traveling all around. Socialism is on the ballot. Don't let them fool you. Don't believe the ads. Don't believe the nonsense. This is a race. This is a nation that we are on the brink of losing our American values. We need to rebuild this country, to stand up for our flag, stand up for our patriotic values. That the Democrats aren't interested in that. They aren't going out and talking about that. They're talking about socialist programs. They're not using the word socialism. I say socialism because I'm actually saying it nicely. I live in a communist country. Socialism is just a nice way of saying communism. Right. But literally, freedom versus communism, chaos, looting, disorder, all those things that you're seeing coming, all of a sudden, how they stop? I wonder how politically motivated all that looting and all the violence. It's actually law and order, supporting police, supporting our communities, making sure we're safe, all of us. That's the mission of our police. We're going to try to fix those things. We're going to do those things in Congress, and we're going to grow our economy. We're not going to have open borders to allow illegal immigrants to pour across our for every generation going forward. The Democrats are going to destroy it with this Medicare for all and this open borders approach. It is literally something, and I'm going to quote my good friend up here, Ed Hickey, because I think it was great. I'm from a small business and a bar owner, said, I'm worried, Claudia, one of the things that's happening is they're going to ring a bell that cannot be unrung. And I think that is so true, truer words never spoken. Once they get all that, we're not going to be able to stop them, whether it's packing the court, taking our tax dollars, and adding states to make sure that they solidify their power. They're going to turn the Supreme Court into an auxiliary kind of legislature. We're going to have an extra legislature that's going to be full of Democrats. So you and I, if we happen to not believe with them politically, agree with them politically, when we go to court, they're not going to be on our team because the Democrats are going to be packing the court. This is not checks and balances. This is not what our country was founded on. And I just hope we can urge and get everyone out here. If you can talk to 5 or 10 people, get them out to vote. We're winning everywhere but Broome County. And we need Broome County on our team because Broome County is one of the regions that actually needs the most help. And you're not getting it from your current representative. When I served in Congress, a lot of strong advocacy with the president as well. We brought record resources to our county from tax cuts to restoring the historic tax credit as part of that. Bringing opioid relief to our families. Bringing community block grants, which help us with Meals on Wheels for our seniors. Community action agencies got increased. We did a lot of work and a lot of advocacy, and Broome County benefited. We just need to let our constituents know that. It's all down to Broome County. If we can do better in Broome County, we're going to win this race. So I want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you to Steve for being there. Thanks so much. I don't know what the next is on the schedule here, but Steve's got to get going. He's going to Pennsylvania. He's traveling all across the country in all these important seats. We got to win Pennsylvania too.
Yeah. Thank you.